Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Lisa Richardson.
And I'm your host, Annalisa Itcore. And today we are in Osprey Village, Thrift on Main. And we're going to be learning all about how Osprey Village is coming into our community.
First up is Jerry Manuel. He's the executive director. Also, we have David Green in charge of business development.
Then we have Julie Kuntz joining us. She's the director of operations. And finally, Channing Heiss, who is in charge of communications.
So stay with us and stick around to watch this episode of 843 TV,
where communities come to speak.
843 TV, where the Low Country comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV. We are here at the Osprey Village Thrift Store on Main, which is a fantastic place, and we can't wait to look around later.
Yeah, I've already started shopping.
And joining us today, we're going to be talking with some of those involved. And first up, we have Jerry Manuel. He's the executive director. Jerry, this is a very special place, a very special project. Can you just share a little bit about what is Osprey Village? What is its goal and mission?
The mission is to create a village with a purpose. And that's why we want to develop out in the area outside of Bluffton and in Jasper County, across from Oldfield, our village for people with developmental disabilities, to have the opportunity to live and be in a place where they're free, open, sharing of themselves with their neighbors and friends, other family members, and be able to part of their community. It's a desperate need of folks within this area, within the whole state of South Carolina. There's over 5,000 people on a waiting list and close to 300 to 400 in our area here in Beaufort and Jasper County. And this has been a dream of many families. It's taken a long time to get to where we are, but we're on the verge of being able to develop this community.
Wow.
So the community helps those with physical disabilities,
as well as mental disabilities as well.
Gives them opportunities to work, to be employed, to do all kind of things that they need help with.
Sure, over the years, people with disabilities were put in institutions, were put aside, left at home. And many of our folks work in the community now, and more that want to. And of course, if you know anything about our area, there's a need for workers.
Yes.
And our folks can be a big support to this, as we have seen our folks be placed in Publix, Kroger's, other areas of McDonald's, working within the community, working through the PEP organization. So it's something that needs to be developed so that they can have a life just like you and I.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
This is
Absolutely.
a wonderful thing to learn about for sure. How did you get involved?
Well, I moved here.
Blame me,
Yeah.
yes.
I moved here permanently to retire 5 years ago from Ohio.
Just like half a hill.
Yes, as I found out. But we had visited here many times, over the years. And then attended a Knights of Columbus meeting, which I'm a member of. And they gave my background, which is 40 years of working with people with disabilities in Ohio at both the state and local level. And David, right away afterwards, came up to me and says, would you be interested in being part of a program? So I volunteered. And then from that, the board has asked me to step in the role of executive director to complete the process and complete their mission over the next few years. So it's been exciting.
That's great. Now, I understand that there's a new project in the works, the neighborhood development. Can you update us a little bit on that progress?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, we had land donated to us late last year out in the East Argent development project that's going on across from Oldfield Plantation. A gentleman by the name of Jack Fisher out of Atlanta, inland capital, donated 63 acres of that area to us to build on 25 a community that will be integrated within all the other aspects that's going to go on out there to the Y, the other stuff that will be built around us and part of that. And right now we're just waiting for, of course, as happens with any project, city to complete all of the plans and the approvals so that the road can get completed and we can start our infrastructure. So we're hoping 19 will be our big year to begin.
What are some of your general goals for 2019 in terms of Osprey Village?
Well, probably the primary is make sure we get the message out to as many people as possible that still don't know if this is ever going to really happen. the exciting part that what has been dreamed about is now a reality.
Great.
And that it will be happening. Secondly, then to find investors, people who are interested in supporting this as a planned development that we hope will be not in debt, but able to be fully paid for through donations, state matching grants, and share that message and make it not only profitable, but a local initiative.
Great.
You mentioned there's 300 or 400 people on a waiting list. What is the process to get on that waiting list? How does that all work?
David can explain that to you probably better than I. He's
It's
a
complicated,
parent.
to say the least.
South Carolina doesn't make it easy for people or parents with disabled children to get the services they need. Right now, you have many families who are worried about their educational process within the
Sure.
schools, but no one is preparing them for when they turn 18.
Yeah, what a
And when they
good point.
become
Yeah, it
adults, the families don't know where to turn. As well as a number of our parents are aging and have no real plans or want to make plans and don't know how to make them. Because right now, in Beaufort County, if you had a child who needed residential support, more than likely you would have to leave the area to go find it someplace and be separated from your son or daughter. What we hope to do in this village is families able to have a place not only know they're safe and they have friends and they're close by and they don't have to worry.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that's the biggest concern most of them.
Worry is probably the biggest key to that. The peace of mind that you can have as a caregiver, a parent or whomever, it's a big thing.
And one of the things, I mean, each family has different needs. Each family has different ideas of what they want. But our village will be able to be addressed by them on what they want, not what we want them to do. That's the uniqueness of what we're trying to do. We're not putting them all in one place
Right.
to do all the same things. They're all going to have their individual lives. They are going to have choices. They're going to be part of a community sharing their wealth and their abilities within the friends around them. And it's a concept that we get on our website many questions around the country. Is this really real? Is it really going to happen? Can we be part of this?
Right.
How do we get on the list? I mean, talk about not only our local folks, the amount of people that inquire about how to get on our list. I mean, all the visitors that Hilton Head has.
Sure.
We get a lot of folks from Ohio who bring their children with disabilities, and we find out from them they would like to live here, but they don't have a place for their son or daughter.
Right.
This
And
is
then now they
something-
have an option. So much more to address here.
Oh,
and we're very
yes.
excited to talk to some other people that are involved with the
Happy to.
program. So we will be right back with more 843 TV.
Thank you.
Welcome back to 843 TV. Joining us now, we have David Green and Julie Coons here at the Osprey Village thrift store on Main Street. So let's start with you, David. You have been with Osprey Village really since its earliest conception, right?
Right.
And you also have an adult son, Paul, who's involved with the program. So tell us a little bit about how all this began.
Right. Well, back in late 2007, a number of families who were involved with programs for exceptional people, the PEP Day program here
Yes.
on the island, started getting together and trying to figure out what do we do when we can't care for our son or daughter with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, whatever the developmental disability might be. And out of that came an effort to figure out what is there available now. We found out at the time there were 5 group homes all north of the Broad River. So we started talking with the Beaufort County Disabilities and Special Needs Board about, are they going to get anything down here? Yes, they were planning on it. And then, of course, the recession of 2008 hit and all that went out the window. And we decided we can't just sit around and wait for things to happen. So I was part of the core group that started with getting incorporated as Osprey Village, Inc., putting together some plans for fundraising and so forth. I was the initial board president, and we got our 501c3 status in 2009, and we've been basically charging ahead as fast as we can, but it seems like 2 steps forward, 1 step back over the last 10 years
Right.
or so. And really, it's something that is, it's such a critical need, as Jerry said. You've got 5,000 people on waiting lists across the state. You've got families who are getting older. I'm going to be ready for Medicare soon, and what happens with many widowed parents and caregivers and so forth. So that's the big concern. How do we address that need? And the whole idea of a neighborhood with a purpose, as we're calling it, it brings those families together, keeps them with or close by with their loved one who has a disability, and also connects them to the community. So.
Now, Julie, you're the operations director, so tell us a little bit about your role, how that you work with the rest of the staff.
Well, this is a nonprofit, so we all wear multiple hats.
Yeah, I think I have 3 jobs now.
Yeah. So I was brought on 2 years ago because my background is project management, and I've worked a lot in human services. When I initially came on, it was to work on things like grant writing, developing some programming opportunities for our adults with developmental disabilities in the community, helping to move forward with the village and kind of steer that direction as far as organizing an organization, if you will.
Yeah. Very much needed.
Now that you've been going through this for a little while, what are some of the things that you most like to see accomplished?
For Osprey Village, well, getting it built would be,
Yeah.
really and truthfully, everything that we're doing here is to give these individuals the opportunity to be independent adults, what we all want to be as we get older. And getting the community together to really support that idea, grab a hold of it, and understand that these are valuable contributors to this community, and they have so much to offer. And everything I think that we do is a demonstration towards that, from building a village to some of the programs that we're operating currently.
So David, I mean, you have in your family one of these valuable contributors.
Right.
What have you heard Paul and maybe some of the other Osprey Village clients express in terms of what they want?
Well, if you can imagine,
Because I'm sure you
imagine
hear
you're a
it.
36-year-old guy living at home with his parents.
Sure.
Okay. What's one of the first things our Paul is going to say? Mom, I don't really want to live here anymore. I want to live somewhere by myself, away
Right.
from you. You know?
Right.
And natural thing. Now, can he do that? In many ways, yes. He's got a lot of independent living skills, but doesn't have a clue about finances, perhaps, or
Right.
wouldn't be able to make appointments to get somewhere and that type of thing. And one of the programs Julie's been working on is Uber training, so people can utilize that service to
I
get
think that's
places.
great.
And so
We love it.
it's all about, you know, how can we make them as independent as possible, but still maintain their connections with their families and friends. And you know, that's really the whole goal behind this.
Address what you would like the community to understand about these individuals. I think there's a lot of misconceptions. What could clear that up? What helps those watching to understand how they can be valuable? Share with us a little bit about that.
There's a popular concept or belief that these are perpetual children.
Yeah.
I mean, we hear this all the time, and that doesn't do these individuals any favors.
No.
And it doesn't help our community to understand them. They learn differently than we do, and like all of us, they have skills that they excel in and things that they just don't excel in, and that's okay. It's important that we grab hold of what we know they can do and push them and teach them to reach the absolute highest potential that we can, because at the end of the day, it's kind of what we all want. And that shows a level of respect for these individuals and values what they can contribute.
In the case of Paul, he plays the keyboard. So he's part of our music group over at St. Francis by the Sea. We
that's
play there
great.
regularly.
Yeah.
He's now involved with Heroes on Horseback and riding horses out there. He
Great
still is a
program.
member of PEP. There's it's Special Olympics. So he's involved in 3 or 4 other organizations here in the community. And one of the things we've tried to do is reach out to them and coordinate our efforts. I've helped to form the Beaufort County Disabilities Coalition that's part of the Human Services Alliance, just to bring these organizations together, because we're all serving the same people very often. And
That's
it's just
right.
a matter of how can we make their lives better through whatever we specialize in as far as helping and serving and supporting them.
Well, again, there's so much to learn. It's a wonderful topic where we can be we need education on it is the main thing. So we're going to come back. So we hope you stay right here. We'll be back with more 843 TV. Welcome back. We're here at the Osprey Village Thrift Shop today, and we're talking all about the very important programs with Osprey Village. And talking with us next is Channing Heiss, Director of Communications. It's so nice to be here today. And why don't you share with us a little bit about how you're involved and what you do?
Well, it was kind of an interesting and unexpected journey. Sometimes it's all about being in the right place at the right time, as we all know.
Sure.
How many jobs have we gotten that way? That's how it worked with me. Back in 2013, I had a friend who was already on the board of Osprey Village. He started talking to me about this great concept, and I was sold immediately. I understood what they were trying to do. They were trying to create empowerment, freedom, opportunity, choice, which is something that all of us want, regardless of ability or disability.
Absolutely.
And I said, you know, what do you want me to do and when do you want me?
Yeah.
Basically was my answer. He didn't have to sell me at all. So we started talking a little bit more. 2014, early, I got on the board, started serving on the board, did that for about 2.5 years. Then this gig shows up. Jerry, our executive director who you met, I had been on the board. He comes over to me and says, you know, we're expanding, we're growing, we need more people to help run this. You want to run the office? So we tried to literally create this job of office manager because there were extra things to do and not enough hands to do them. And so that's how I got into the admin staff. And what we discovered over the course of about a year was how much of what we were doing had to do with communicating with the community.
Yes.
Getting those concepts and messages out there to the public. And we realized we needed a communications arm to Osprey Village. So I took the mantle of that, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Now, you've been involved in disabled advocacy for years and in many states. How do you feel, how would you assess the status as of 2019, and what role do you see Osprey Village in furthering that progress?
Well, there are always issues that need to be addressed, and that's on a continuing basis. But I'm optimistic. I think we're heading in a great direction. We had the ADA, of course, 25, 26 years ago, back in 1990. Gosh, that's almost 29
I know,
years
can
ago
you
now.
believe
You just
that?
dated yourself.
Unbelievable. But beyond that, I've seen a lot of positive social evolution in terms of people with physical disabilities, which is more my background. It's been an interesting experience being exposed to people with developmental disabilities, because that's a wide spectrum too. I'm optimistic. I think we're heading in a good direction. There's more to do. What we need to try to do is emphasize, and you heard this from Jerry and Julie and all the rest, the human aspect of this. I think that it's important for us as Osprey Village to take on a leadership role, an educational role, emphasizing the three-dimensional humanness, kind of evolving from the traditional medical model to a more 360-degree socio-political model of disability, where you're more a person than just your disability.
Right.
I think that a lot of positive things are happening in the media and pop culture. You have to remember, this has been going on for a long time in little increments. 25, 26 years ago, there was an actor by the name of Chris Burke who starred on a show called Life Goes On as a gentleman with a developmental disability. So pop culture has been dabbling in this.
Well, I mean, I have to say, currently in the media, you see a much stronger presence
Yes,
of disabled individuals, and it's really not a quote-unquote phenomenon anymore. It's just a fact. It's a part of, which I think is great.
And the images and messages are getting better and better every day. There's a television show that's about a generation behind me called American Horror Story.
Oh, I love that show. And that's one of the
Jamie
shows I was
Brewer.
thinking of. She's fantastic.
And I was very excited back in 2015. Carrie Brewer, who is a fashion designer in New York, she was the first designer to put a woman with a developmental disability on the runway, which was very exciting. Shows you that we're looking at the human aspect of this and not just seeing themness, but more usness, which is a big thing for me. And we need to just continue to do that. We need to continue to see more positive and widespread images in media and pop culture. But like I say, I'm optimistic, and as long as we keep taking this leadership role and educating one another together and looking under the hood, which kind of takes guts sometimes, but looking under the hood at the premises and attitudes that got us here, both the good and the not so good, and seeing what we can do to make things even better. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them a little bit about what's coming up, what we have going on?
Oh, good idea.
Oh, I'll tell you, this is so exciting. We have been developing our fundraising efforts.
Great.
We're planning on adding more and more as the years go by. We have our annual Pro Bowl Open fundraiser coming up on January 27th, Sunday, January 27th. It is not just a Pro Bowl watch party hosted by our board member Kenny Anderson, who was the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals.
There you go.
Pro Bowl MVP and an all-around great guy. He's the host and MC of the Pro Bowl Open, as he has been the 4 times. This will be the 4th time we've done it. We first did this in January of 2015, and if the math doesn't work out, you can thank Matthew for that.
Where is that held?
That's at Station 300
Okay.
in Bluffton,
Great.
and it goes from 2 to 6. I'm very excited to tell you that the vacation company just signed on as our presenting sponsor, so we're very happy to have their support. It's great fun. Not only is it a watch party, it's great food, it's camaraderie, it's bowling, it's a raffle, it's silent auction, all kinds of
Where
great
do we
things.
get the information on how to attend that?
You can call me.
Okay. Numbers on the screen.
Call my office at 843-422-6099, and I'll walk you through how to get tickets, how to attend the event, what you can expect. And if you are a business person who wants your business to be a sponsor, we would so much appreciate that. I'll walk you through the various levels and then how to do that.
I have to tell you, today has been such a great experience. We've not only learned a lot about Osprey Village in general, but I know we're going to be doing some serious shopping here as soon
here
as
in the
this
Absolutely.
wraps up. I
Good,
cannot
thank you.
believe
Music to
what
my
is
ears.
available here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for another episode of 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.